Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ alárẹ̀. Ayé wo la ò jẹ rí? Tell them, let them know, say, wọ́n lè bá. Then they see us as they emulate. Then one begin, they imitate. Maybe someday they go graduate. Many people don't know about Baba. I see they go. Owó lọmọ gbàgbé òṣì. Ìjẹ̀bú Àwùjalẹ̀. Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ alárẹ̀. Kékeré Ìjẹ̀bú o. Àwọn tó mọ̀ wá o. Àgbà Ìjẹ̀bú o. Àwọn alábòsí o. Àríyá rẹpẹtẹ. Come on! Ìjẹ̀bú jó dáadáa. Ìjẹ̀bú jayọba. We done the ball with the represent. Olówó lọmọ ṣe yóò. Ìjẹ̀bú lọmọ kò sóṣì. Ayé wo la ò jẹ rí? Tell them, let them know, say, wọ́n lè bá. Ìjẹ̀bú Àwùjalẹ̀. Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ alárẹ̀. Kékeré Ìjẹ̀bú o. Come on! Àwọn tó mọ̀ wá o. Àgbà Ìjẹ̀bú o. Àwọn alábòsí o. Egbe. Ó pọ̀. Come on! Mo fọ́ kó yínú. Egbe. Ó pọ̀. Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ alárẹ̀. Ṣé ń gbọ́ àwọn dà? See them. Kékeré Ìjẹ̀bú o. Àwọn tó mọ̀ wá o. Àgbà Ìjẹ̀bú o. Àwọn alábòsí o. Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ alárẹ̀. Come on.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the one-man show, the Doopsie Baby Show. We're here. I'm covering for Miss Doopsie. She's busy, and we're here to discuss an interesting topic today. This is in regards to a nurse that left her baby at home to work, and unfortunately, the baby died. So we're going to throw in some more discussion into the conversation. For our audience listening to us, please, the StreamYard, if you want to join us as a panelist, click the link, enjoy. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
All right. Adama, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, brilliant. So, like you said, so Adama's stepping in for Doopsie, of course. So you are in equal, capable hands. Doopsie, for reasons of work commitment, not able to host this session. But equally capable, of course, Adama. She's volunteered to step in. But it's quite anyway, let me bring it. It's this storyline, Adama, has been at the social media for a week, 10 days, and it's tragedy all the way through. This is a tragic death of Bolton baby left at home alone for 8 hours. So already every parents their nerves already jarred, but just by that headline. A mother was jailed for 3 years following the tragic death of her 8-week-old baby who had been left at home alone while she went to work as a nurse. Joshua Akerele died on December the 20th, 2022, after being left at home for 8 hours. His mother, Ruth Auta, arrived home at around 3:15 p.m. Emergency services were called shortly afterwards after the baby was found unresponsive. He had suffered uh, a systolic cardiac arrest, or hopefully I pronounced that right. He had
Mm-hmm.
a systolic cardiac arrest, a condition in which the heart stops beating. Despite attempts to resuscitate him in the ambulance, Joshua could not be saved and was pronounced dead at 4:40 p.m. Joshua was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. No conclusive cause of death was given. Auta appeared at a Bolton Crown Court to be sentenced for the neglect of her son. The court heard how she had undertaken three. The court heard how she had undertaken 3 years of nursing training in her native Nigeria before emigrating to the United Kingdom in order to train with the NHS. Prosecuting Vanessa Thompson said when she came to the UK to complete her training, she did not disclose she was pregnant. She would not have been permitted to work on hospital wards had she done so. Auta gave birth to Joshua on October the 22nd, 2022, going into labor in the middle of a shift at Royal Bolton Hospital. The court heard that he had been a healthy baby. On December the 20th, the same year, CCTV footage showed her leaving her flat at 6:35 a.m. before returning to the property at around 3:15, both on her own. An ambulance was called just a minute later. Miss Thompson said CCTV footage checks showed that nobody had entered her flat throughout the day. The previous days mainly showed her entering and leaving with the pram. At 3:25, at 3:24 p.m., paramedics and police were called to the collapse of an infant at Lincoln House in Nelson Street, Bolton. Uh, the mother met paramedics at the entrance of the building holding Joshua. He was then transferred to the hospital but pronounced dead on arrival. She told the police that she had returned home from work, fed him, and laid him on her bed before he went to sleep. Miss Thompson said the defendant claimed she had collected Joshua from a carer when she left work and taken him back home. She also claims that she had wrapped him in multiple layers of clothing, which caused him to sweat. Analysis at the scene found an area of her bed saturated with sweat. However, text on Alta's phone showed contact with her baby's carer, who she had employed to look after Joshua. The messages, which were sent after his death, said, "I lost Joshua. I don't want you to panic. Police are coming to question you. I told them he stayed with you this morning." A further message said, "I am not a bad person, but I am concerned of the UK government. Just help me out. I was too scared to ring an ambulance." The contact responded that she could not help her. When interviewed by the police, she told them she had not taken care of Joshua that day. A post-mortem report said that there were so many unknown variables that was not possible to ascertain what had caused Joshua's death. Auta had no previous convictions and pleaded guilty to the charge of neglect. The court heard on June the 6th this year. Auta was arrested at Gatwick Airport whilst attempting to board a flight to Nigeria. She had purchased a one-way ticket. Defending Eli Aga said Miss Auta had been homeless during this period. She had been helped by various accommodations from various agencies. So it goes on and on. But what are you making of that? It's quite it's quite a tragic little story anyway. But the
Mm-hmm.
may not actually. What do you make of it first?
This is what I make of it. You can tell there's something wrong with this lady. For you to come into a nursing program in the UK and you hid your pregnancy, you worked up to the point that you went into labor while working. And not just working, after you had the baby, Where is the father? That's my number one question. Where is the father? Who took care of her while she was nursing her baby? You couldn't have told me after having the baby she went back to work. So people were there to help with the baby, let's say for a short time, a few days or whatever, for her to get back on her feet and things like that. And the thing that saddens me is how you could leave a baby, your own child. You know, woman, there's something called postpartum depression for women who have kids. So now, should I say this is postpartum depression? How I just can't wrap my mind around it. What would make you leave your own child at home and go to make money? I can't. Something is not right. The story is quite
That
not
seems to be
added
the
up.
sum total of it. But there are other narratives as well that she did not actually want that baby. So that baby, this is stories coming out from the grapevines after this incident broke. That baby was born an albino, according to what I heard, and
What?
she did not at all like that. So that permutates into it as well, and then of course, the the lost for that pound note. How can you put a 10, how can you leave a 10 month or a 10, not 10 month or 10-week old baby by himself to go on an 8 hour shift? How is that even possible?
I can't even wrap my head. Woman, there's something called here in America. It's called Jenny's list, Angie's list. You can go there to hire profession. Like when I want someone to dog sit for me, like watch my dog. I've used that services a lot. They will come to your home, you pay them. Everybody working there is vetted, background check, and everything. Like she could have hired someone to stay in the house, and if she wants to work whatever shift, at least leave the child with someone. Leave the child. So for her to come home, you remember they said they had the onto the baby when she got home. So people had the baby crying. Something happened. How did they get inside? So they broke into the home. Something happened for I just woman, this is just a
No,
loss.
no, I don't think they actually broke into the home. What happened was she'd wrapped that baby in warm clothing, which she thought was the care that she needed to give. She thought maybe the baby was going to sleep all the way through. So now she got back home, and then suddenly to find that the baby was not responsive. So she immediately then called the ambulance. And then after calling the ambulance, she started to text her childminder to tell her that look, something has happened, but well, when the police come to you, just tell them that you looked after the baby and I came to pick him up. So her storyline was that she gave the baby to the childminder, and then she picked him up after she got back from work, and then she set him to sleep, and then he wasn't responding. So that was what her storyline was going to be. But
So who was she
unfortunately,
talking to? Who was she talking to saying that she got scared, that she needs help? Who was that
no,
person
no,
she was coming?
that was the childminder. She was exchanging text messages well, with the childminder.
Mm-hmm.
So where her luck ran out was that there is a CCTV in the block of flats where she lives. So the CCTV saw her leave. It picked her up when she left for her shift. The CCTV saw picked her up when she came back from work, and then barely 5 minutes after she called the ambulance. So there was no, she couldn't really get away from that. And then that text message between her and the childminder that damns her completely. She
Mm-hmm.
actually tried to escape to Nigeria, but they caught her at the airport.
So could I make sure I understand what you're saying? What is a childminder in UK? What is that?
It's
Oh, well,
somebody you
we,
it's similar to what you just described. Somebody you give your child to look after whilst you go
like a
to work.
nanny,
Yeah.
like a
Like
nanny.
an Yes, but not a living nanny. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like it's sort of like a service. They can either come and stay with that child at your home, or you
Mm-hmm.
drop them off at their home whilst you set about your day.
God, this is woman. This is just for her to even have the mind to want to run back to Nigeria. is the part I don't understand. I don't. Someone needs to explain. And where's the father? Because I've not heard anything about the father and something like. I've not heard anything about the father. Have you heard? Nobody has commented. And if once she gave back to the baby, why did she put up the baby for adoption? You
No,
know,
no,
I
I'm not
don't
sure
know.
that she was wanting to give up the baby entire. You know, she actually came to the UK for training, but she did not declare that she was pregnant. So she was looking to have that baby. I think you call them anchor babies where you are, don't you? So,
Yeah.
so she was looking to have that baby in the UK to legitimize her status within the
Her
country.
status. Oh,
Mm.
now I see where you're coming from. So after she had the baby, oh, woman, this is not right. This is not right. But who got her now? Is the father? Do you think she came pregnant from Nigeria or she got pregnant here in the
No, no,
UK?
she came pregnant from Nigeria. They said if they had known that she was pregnant, they wouldn't have processed her to come anyway. So she came pregnant from Nigeria, but she hid that, you know.
I don't know. Well, my UK is really. Last week, remember what we discussed about the policing? We complain a lot. Why is it always you guys? Please, what are you guys doing in the UK that is not like this week? I mean, this past week now is UK again. It's like always Nigerians are always trending in Europe. I don't understand what is really going on in Europe where you guys are. Is there something going on that you've not told us?
No, it's the Japa something, isn't it? Because there's a particular portal that opens up for Japa within the UK especially. So usually education related. So you can come into the UK on education basis. I think those rules are now changing now. So you can come into the UK with an education sort of. There's a lot of Nigerians actually doing their masters now in the UK for reasons of Japa. So you can come and then off the back of that visa, you can bring your dependents as well. So usually the woman gets the visa and then she brings the husband and the children, and then they lock themselves into the system somewhat. They either in sort of continuous education and training to continue to move the goalpost, or yeah, so that's really what's going on.
That is just so sad. That is just so sad. What happened was, and why is this childminder not arrested as well? Because was the childminder doing what they paid her for? Because I don't get it. If the childminder was present, why did like I don't? There's something not adding up.
No, no, the childminder is not actually party to the narrative at all. Um, she was only really wanting the childminder to be an alibi, sort of to have like a cover story for her. So
Wow.
she should have hired the services of the childminder, but
Mm-hmm.
she did not. So I,
This is just tragedy in the whole. Yeah, go ahead.
I was actually going to play you another clip just to move the conversation on a
Go
little bit.
ahead.
Maybe when people start to turn up. Let me play you. There's a phenomenon now that is. I saw so many of these sort of clips, but I picked this one just to make the point. Let me play it. There's a phenomenon going on now, especially in Nigeria itself. But this is the phenomenon.
Me, I like fine girls. The ones where they wear short skirts. Oh, me, I like fine girls. So fine girls like Tyler Star. Oh. Fine girl, you're melanin pop pop pop.
So
Woman,
yes,
is that real?
it is real. Have you not been seeing it? All these young guys are getting with all these they call it granny grabbing here in the UK. They call it granny grabbing. So it's getting with all of these grannies for reasons of japa.
Japa.
Yes,
Oh, I
is
miss
that the
Chioma.
thing,
Where's
isn't it?
Chioma? I miss Chioma. If you're listening, please come and see one of your brothers. They started this. I mean, what is this? Woman, do you see how old that? Do you see how young that boy is? That's a child.
That is barely 19.
Are you kidding me?
And if that woman is not if she's not 60, she's just a few years from it. I don't know.
I don't know if you heard of the story TLC 90 Days Fiance.
Is
You
it
know
the
about the
Angela
guy?
one?
Yeah, the
Uh,
Angela and Mike, the Yoruba guy.
but they're still together. Are they still together? They're,
No, he's suing TLC. He's filed for divorce. He's suing the wife. The wife is suing him in return and wants him shipped back to Nigeria because she feels that he used her for a green card, and she wants to do everything to make sure he gets deported back to Nigeria.
so he's not regularized his stay in America yet.
I think he has, but she's still holding on to everything. He's
Yeah,
still
but that was the deal all the way. What did she think the intentions were? He's a young, good-looking guy. She's an older, rough-looking woman. What did she think that he was in love with her?
I
What
think
did
in
she
her
think was
mind she think he was in love with her, and at the same time he went through a lot of physical abuse. Angie has a hot temper. She even on when the segment was being filmed, which I don't like. Well, you know this TV station, all these reality shows, they do everything for rating. He was slapped a lot, like he was physically abused a lot of time, and nothing was done about it. And what I don't understand, he still stayed. He still stayed with her despite the whole abuse, deprived him of sex, everything. I mean, he still stayed. That's the part I didn't quite get. So I'm just lost because why do all these young men go for older women? Why we have a lot of single women in the diaspora, young, who are educated, well to do, but I'm not seeing men or men are coming after them. I just don't know what is going on because we have a lot of single Nigerians.
it's a matter of passport, isn't it, and migration. So
Yes.
if we look at the example of that guy that we just saw now, like
Hmm.
you right said, if you the oldest he would ever be is 21. You know, so if he sacrifices what 5 years of his life to that woman, gets himself an American passport and American education, throws
Hmm.
her in the bin,
Hmm.
then he's set for life. So that's the trade-off, isn't it?
But woman, this is the thing we need to realize. And this is one thing I always say everybody. If you come to America, born here or not, or Europe, someone has to help you. Someone has to help you. Do you understand? You have to, whether you do it someone else, you will be used. It's just one thing. In order for you, if you don't, even if you come under student visa, which there's a thing called I-20, the United States used to do, which a lot of students came in here, and that's how you get your papers and things like that. But I don't know if they still have that program. But my thing is, our children some of our children are going to marry from back home and bring those men here. So in order for them to stay here, they need papers to work. They need papers to work. But my thing is, let the man be transparent. If you know you don't have papers and you meet a woman, she's a citizen, whatever, don't support the part where you have other narrative. You get with this person because you just want to get your papers. So if that's your intention from day one, then go pay for it. Where that service is where you will marry someone, but you're paying that person, and that person is just your legal wife, quote unquote, on paper, but you're paying for everything. After everything goes through, everybody can go their separate ways. But the part I don't like is lying to someone to be in a relationship. You go as far as pregnanting the person.
No, but is that not the nature of relationships, though?
Relation. How is it the nature? Explain that.
Well, because most relationships always start with a lie. You know, they're not a total lie. So there's elements of lies within in the build up to any relationship. There's always elements of lies.
Of
Whether
course.
whether somebody is making excessive claims beyond what the situation is, etc. But it's the bit. It's not uncommon now that women are used for this sort of visa, something or the other.
Really? Then when the women do it, you're called a gold digger or a gold digger. When a woman, let's say older women who like young men, what do they call them? They call these young boys, sugar
They call them
baby.
cougars, don't they?
Yeah, cool.
They call them cougars.
So
Other
why is it
women
that when
don't
a
like
woman
younger
does
men.
it is a problem? Why is it that when we like younger men is a problem, but when you guys like younger women, we should accept it? I'm not saying it's the norm, but all I'm saying is let's be transparent about whatever you're doing. I'm not saying it's perfect, but be transparent. If you know you're getting with someone and you know this is not your type, you say, nah, this thing we are doing, no, please, so you know that I have to get my situation, straight. But my thing is, these men will go as far as they will stay with this woman, then they will go back home and marry the real wife and bring them here and be rubbing it on that ex's face. Woman, that's not right now.
That's been the root of so many people into especially European citizenship. They would a lot. It happens a lot in Germany actually. So they'll come off the banana boat, however it is they get into Germany, and then they'll look for some gullible German girl, get her pregnant, and then use that baby to secure, their presence in that country, and then go back to wherever it is they came from to go and get what they would term a proper wife. And there's so many examples of that.
I remember my dad's uncle came back home. He lived in where you call it, and he brought her home. And this was Nigeria. I remember I came back home to visit, and she was one of the people where my uncle wanted to show her off. But this was not a real marriage for my uncle because my uncle was a player, if you know him. But he was all over her, and she's Caucasian, and she loved my uncle so bad. The thing, they went at France giving my uncle a chief dancer with this lady. So where is that marriage today? My uncle is married to an Igbo woman with 4 kids. So my thing is they go as far as taking these women home. Not saying that men marrying Caucasian women, those relationships are not legit. Whatever your type is, and whoever, love is love. Love is a beautiful thing. Not all men are into Nigerian women.
It's the children that I feel for. There's
What do you mean the
so
children?
well, in this sort of like you say, if we take the example you've just given now of your uncle, if they if he goes and has a child with that Caucasian woman, that child ultimate. If let's not even use your uncle as an example. A lot of it is going on in China at the moment. All of these Africans, especially Nigerians, that do that China route, they've gotten half of those Chinese populations pregnant. After they're done with whatever it is that they're doing there, they abandon the girl and the child, and then they make their way back home to go and build a life. So what happens to those children? They're just casualties of somebody else's
And
excesses.
not just that, one man, biracial kids, some of them, if you talk to some of them, one happens to be my daughter's friend, they will tell you what they deal with. Sometimes they feel they can't fit in as a black person. Sometimes they feel they can't fit in as a white person because their parents are, white and black. So and these kids are so smart, beautiful. So they go through their own challenge as well. We need to recognize that fact because one thing I see people do, especially our culture, they will tell you that that kid is not Nigerian enough, or that one is not Igbo enough, that one is not Yoruba enough, because
They will
both
call him or
parents are
her
not
Oyibo now. They will call
Oyibo.
him.
Okay, so what makes them Oyibo?
The color of the skin, the texture of the hair, the fact that they don't, align with the general norm of they'll call them Oyibo now.
Okay, woman, what is the general norm? Now you've opened a can of worm. So are you saying the general norm is um a black marrying black or Igbo man? What is the general norm you're talking about?
There's this thing called Oedipus complex. I'm sure you've heard about it. There's this thing called
Mm-hmm.
Oedipus complex.
Complex. Mm-hmm.
So Oedipus was a Greek god. I'm not sure if it's I think it's a mythical thing, but Oedipus was a Greek god who killed his mother, who killed his father to marry his mother. So So that's Oedipus. So he killed his mother to he killed his father to marry his mother. So they theorize that men want to marry their mother, not in some weird fetishism, but the woman that a man ends up being with is as close to how his mother was as possible in mannerisms, in outlook on life, maybe even in look. So people want to have a wife that somewhat replicates their mother, because of course the first love of a man is usually the mother. So that's the Oedipus complex. So to answer that your question, the norm for most people is that is most familiar to them, culturally, linguistically, and racially. That's your first go-to, isn't it?
Yes, that's your first go-to, but these things are happening. Our men are attracted to Caucasian women, Spanish women, a lot of women who are not Nigerian. So are we saying that those kids are not good enough, just like a Nigerian child? I don't understand that because they look quote unquote white. We have Eagles. Eagles, welcome to the show. Could you please unmute?
It's nice hearing from you guys. This is Adewale.
Thank you, sir. Could you like to join in the conversation? Do you know what we're talking about, sir?
I think I heard one man talking about somebody left the child in the house and went to work or something like
So
that.
sorry, your voice is a bit low.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I heard your woman talking about a woman that left her child at home and went to work.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And she's also a Nigerian, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. That is very, very troubling. But the thing is, there must be something to I mean, I probably maybe she's she's not psychologically stable. I know that when a nursing mother, sometimes they do have a brain fog or something like that, especially after giving birth or during pregnancy. But I'm not so sure. Why would somebody leave a old child at home and decided to go to work? Could it be that was absent-minded? Um, well, the law usually don't forgive in that kind of situation, but I think it happens. I was watching a video day before yesterday about a woman. It happens here in America where a woman who was taking her child to hospital, who was actually not feeling too good, left the child and dashed into a convenience store to buy a drink or something. Um, she got a call, and it was actually a grizzly bear that opened up a car and attacked that innocent child, and the child didn't make it. So the post was trying to, not to attack the mother, you know, but to understand our predicament. But why would a woman, a mother, left a child and a baby in a car and go to a store to buy something? What's wrong with it? Taking your child with you?
Have you not done that, Dewale?
No, never.
You've not.
No, never.
You've
You see?
not. So
No.
so you are at that store. You just need to literally grab something, 2 3 minutes, pay at details. It's just a convenience store, not a supermarket. The car is parked within your eyes short. The baby is strapped in the baby seat at the back of the car, you know. So then you have to make that decision. Do you unbuckle the whole ceremony of unbuckling that baby, lumping it on your shoulders, going into the store, making that purchase, coming back to buckle the baby back into the seat, and then be on your way? Or do you just literally keep an eye on that car, dash into that store, make that purchase, and dash back? What would you do? A lot of people would leave that child in that car.
Well, we must put it in the context that we live in an environment that people are generally sick. They're sick of this. Um, a day-old child has been kidnapped before. So to think that within that twinkle of an eye or a second, nothing could go wrong. We shouldn't think that way. If we were to be in Nigeria, even in Nigeria today, nobody would do that. even where the law is a little bit lenient. But talking about if someone lives in Europe, in an advanced country, where some lunatics or some crazies can just go and get into your car and drive off. And it has happened in a gas station when, trying to, not even carjacking, probably like a robbery gone wrong. And they got into the car while the child was no, not even a child, like children were in the car. The mother had to jump on the hood and try to make a scene so that people can come to her help. I wouldn't do that, woman, because I understand that if that happens and God forbid something happened to that child, the Lord will not forgive me. And I tell you this, there's no leniency when it comes to situation like that. I've seen people just a domestic accident happened to a child, they give the woman 10 years, 10 years straight, especially when you are in a state where they don't usually forgive. So I wouldn't want to jeopardize my freedom for that. If I'm taking my child with me to somewhere, there's no amount of hunger, there's no amount of thirst that will make me stop by. Just to, if I'm going to do that, that means that child is coming with me. Even if I don't have a stroller, the baby car seat is coming with me, or we both go to where we're going. I mean, it's just about prioritizing. I'm not condemning the mother, but there's some things that we should, um especially when the woman is pregnant, we would tell them during the hospital visit that it's possible to experience some form of brain fog or something during the pregnancy, but you must prioritize, write things down, things that you need to do so that when you forget, you can, and it's even advised for a pregnant woman not to drive alone or travel alone. So have somebody with you that if you forget something, they can remind you. So in an environment where law is not, partial or friendly with situation like that, you have to be extra careful. You have to make sure that you do everything to remember. And for that mother, it's unfortunate that that's what happens. I mean, how old is that child, woman? How old?
10 months.
What?
No,
No,
10 weeks. 10 weeks.
10,
10 weeks.
do you say 10 weeks? I thought I saw 10 months.
No, it was 10 weeks. I think they said 10 weeks.
No,
What?
no. That is
Do you
suffocating.
have any sympathy with the woman? So we're talking about a Japan narrative, which she probably needs to repay whatever it is that she had to pay to make her escape from Nigeria. So is there any sympathies for that woman at all, or
I'm trying to woman. What would make her to go back to work straight up like that? I heard that in Europe is a little bit more easier for a nursing mother to stay longer at home.
That's
Than
what I thought too. That's what I thought too, that
yeah.
Europe gives them all this benefit. They stay longer as a
it
nursing
depends on her
mom.
status, though. I'm not sure that she's fully embedded within the structures just yet. I think I'm not sure that she's fully in the system to take advantage of the system.
You know, people don't usually when you find yourself in a situation like that, which is possible. Okay, you just got into a country you don't know nobody, no help. You can go to the hospital, go to the authority and see if they can help you. There's always going to be somehow, somewhere, help somewhere, and somewhere. But when you do not talk to people, when you do not, because a lot of time people are not, privy to information or get the correct or right information, and they do things drastically, and they ended up boomeranging and get them into a big, big trouble. So instead of you to feign ignorance of, you know, the way things been done in that society, ask people around. If you need help, speak up. Look, sometime I think I heard the Adam was talking about the what do you call it, postpartum.
Postpartum depression for women who
Exactly.
give birth.
And,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
it's real. But most of the time, people that come from our side, they usually don't speak up. They go through that depression by themselves, and instead of them to be happy, they're dejected. They think irrationally. But speak up. I mean, we have Nigerian community in Europe. Is it in UK? I'm not sure where it happens, but If you go to church or mosque, you can ask people, all right? And you need help. Maybe you need somebody to see your child for a couple of hours for you to go back to work. But when you decide, 10 weeks is no, that is not right. That is not rational, woman. That is not. No matter what, no matter what the japa is or desperate that mother was, it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have left. She shouldn't have left that child at home for to go to work. For what? Who's gonna
So
fill the baby?
All
that
right,
is just wrong. Mr.
Adam.
Dawala, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead.
Mr. Dawala, I wanted to get your input. While you came in, we were discussing about our men going for Caucasian women, Spanish, not marrying our women. What is your input on that?
Well, I'm a cosmopolitan person. I don't usually hold such belief anymore, or have never in my life. But the thing is, people go for what they want. And gone are the days where you have to go back to village to go pick up a wife or something. I don't believe in going back home to get married. Actually, I don't. There are a lot of Nigerians, both male and female, in diaspora that, but I think the belief is that most of the time men usually think the female have get exposed and they can't be submissive anymore. And when they go for the Caucasian, they believe that they have some form of simplicity of life, that they're not going to be nagging them and do most of what our ladies usually do. Um, to me, I don't see anything wrong with that. Um, but the only thing is that most times, our women sometimes they don't usually um, give that green light to our men. There are a lot of single people, both here in North America and in Europe. There are a lot of single Nigerians in diaspora, but most of the time, even if they belong to the same community, they don't go for each other because they believe in see finish. After all, we're all Nigerian. What are you gonna say that will move me or just make me think otherwise? So they rather go for the unknown faces, people that will still need to learn about your culture and gone are the days when somebody bring a Caucasian home and people will be gawking and talking behind. No, these days people just like, oh, okay, if that's what you bring in, that's fine. But there's some still hold uh, dear to their old primitive, way of life about marrying the same. As a matter of fact, marrying from the same tribe. I know some places in Nigeria where you can't even marry another tribe. They will look at you like, more or less committing abomination. So, another thing is that when our people go overseas, they tend to forget about their culture and not just immerse themselves in their host country's culture. They take it as the superior one, and that is where I think the problem lies. When you come across Asian man or Chinese man, let me put it that way, even the Indian, they follow their tradition. They continue in their trajectory. Number one focus is family. They want to build family, and everybody, both man and the woman, know their role that they need to play in that family. But most of the time, when you see our people,
It's just inferiority complex, isn't it? Really, why a lot of black people marry, especially you see it amongst the moneyed black. The moneyed blacks, they want with money. They as soon as they make a bit of money, you see it in celebritydom, in sports. It's very rare that you see a successful black person married to a black woman. So that is to tell you then that the white person has always been an aspirational spoil. So when they achieve that success, it's like buying a big house and an Aston Martin. So that's the sort of aspiration, and then a blonde wife. So I think it's to do with the inferiority complex more than anything else, really.
One man, if you ever dated a Caucasian woman before, you will understand why people go for it.
I've dated a Caucasian woman, of
Oh, okay.
course,
So,
plenty.
okay. Let's hear from Baba Jelly Coco, then we'll come back to this. Welcome, sir, Baba Jelly Coco.
Sorry, Adama, check your DM. Yeah.
Okay, Baba Jelly Coco, welcome to the show. Could you please unmute, sir?
Hey, Adama, how are you?
Greetings, sir. I'm doing well, sir.
Yes. The issue of this lady that killed her baby is so sad, and I don't think that that lady deserves any sympathy. She doesn't deserve any sympathy because she cannot tell us. She don't know the. I mean, she cannot tell her that she's ignorant of the law when it comes to neglection of child, abuse of child, and particularly the danger that comes with leaving a baby by themselves without anybody around them. And her profession, being a nurse, I believe in her training, they taught her all of these, how to care for an adult, not even leave an adult that is sick or is going through health challenges, adult that is under the watch of nurses going through health care. Talk less of a baby that cannot do things for themselves. Some adults, when they're in a hospital, you cannot even leave them alone. You can't neglect them. They are under a close watch 24/7. You understand what I'm saying? So for her to leave her baby by herself, a 10 weeks old baby by herself, and went to work, to go and work 8 hours or 12 hours. So number one, neglection. She neglected that baby physically. She abused that baby of starvation. She starved that baby for 10 hours or 8 hours. The care that baby, the fragile, a baby that is so fragile, the care that she deserves, she denied that baby that care. So she killed that lady, that baby. So woman, what does the law say? What is the position of the law on who
Well,
kills a baby in UK?
what they're charging her with is neglect. So that's what they're charging her with, that she neglected that child. Because you can't say that because in criminal law there's two things you have to prove. There's something they call mens reas, and then there's something they call actus reas. So mens reas is criminal intent, actus reas is a criminal action. So they cannot get her or on that. So they can only really charge her with neglect, because there's no burden that proves that she intentionally killed.
Well, it depends on the prosecutor. If the prosecutor, even though maybe that was the law says that leaving a child alone because in the first place, she left that child alone, uncared for. So that is neglect. So how did she endanger the life of that child in what she did to neglect her that resulted to the death of that girl, of that young girl? That is where the prosecutor have to, the death is what the prosecutor have to push. What the neglect,
Ajale Koko, the woman came in from Nigeria. She was training as a nurse in Nigeria, and then to complete her training, she wanted to come and complete her training in the United Kingdom. So she processed herself into whatever training she needed to complete that training. But in the process of processing herself, she did not let them know that she was pregnant. So she came in, then birthed that child in the United Kingdom. I think you guys call it an anchor baby, sort of a. So there's that backdrop. But then she works in this hospital, in Bolton Hospital. So, and usually she uses a childminder, which is a babysitter, I think, in your country. She uses a babysitter for periods when she has to go to work. But I think, so this is not me guessing at it. I think in this part, what's particularly led to this tragic situation, the babysitter was not available. She thought to herself, I'll feed this child and then set him to sleep. This child usually sleeps for around about 8 hours. I'll be back just by the time he's getting up. So she wraps him up warmly, sets him to maybe in his cot, whatever, and then goes about her work. Comes back, and then the baby was not responsive.
So she killed the baby. The neglect of that child, and the fact that that child could not eat for 8 hours or 10 hours. A baby, they constantly eat. They eat, they poo, they eat. That is the way. Baby. That is the way. That's their nature. But she could call out.
But there are speculations that she didn't actually want that baby for reasons of that. This is Larry that was telling me that he knows even deeper the backdrop. There's speculations that she didn't even want that baby. The baby was born an albino, and that seems to trigger her somewhat. So I think maybe there's somewhat of an intent there,
Well,
So in other words, one man, she kept the baby because of the benefits in staying in the UK, her papers and everything.
No, she couldn't have done anything to get rid of the baby. She couldn't have done anything or outside of neglect. She couldn't physically get rid of it. So why didn't she put him up for adoption? Though
adoption, that's the question. Yes, yeah. Why didn't you put the baby up for adoption?
Yeah, but that would affect her being able to regularize her stay in the UK. If you have a child, it probably enhances your chances more.
Look, that girl, that lady killed that baby. She have that option, several options to save that baby. To prevent that situation. She should have called out from work, hey, I don't have babysitter to stay around my little baby today. I don't think I can make it to work. Number two, she could look for, babysitter by all means, or some people, you have a system. I believe in London, you have a system that give help for women in such situation, looking for babysitter so that they can go to work. So she have all.
No, there's no system. Or you have to make your own arrangements. Maybe they'll give you some stipend towards paying for that babysitter, but there is no structure where you can just call and say, I'm going to. You have to have your private arrangements for babysitting.
Oh yeah, even if you have to make private arrangement, That is better than taking a risk. She took a very, very dangerous. She knew it's dangerous too, but she took it anyway. She knew she's a nurse. She knows what it means to leave a baby by themselves for 8 hours. That's a very, very dangerous thing to do, and she did it. So, and she has to face the consequences. The consequences that people must testify against her, like what you said, Larry said, that the family have seen her, she doesn't love the baby. They should go to court to testify against her. Whatever they have against her of what she did, you know, prior to that time, they should bring it up at the court so that she could be charged of murder and allow the law to take its course on her.
You
This
know what
is
what what
bad.
what really damns her, Ajanle Koko, was that she was trying to run away to Nigeria. They arrested her at the airport.
Okay,
You know,
so she
so
knew what she did.
no,
You
no,
see
no.
that?
She knew what it looked like. You know, so
Oh, okay.
she sought to make her escape, but they caught her
How
at
does she want
Gatwick.
to escape? She wanted to leave. She already called the authority. Did they give her on? Did they release her on bail before she trying to run to Nigeria, or before she?
You know that
How?
I don't think she was arrested. You know, she called the ambulance,
Hmm.
and then they were not quite certain about what led to the to the child's death. You know, because the storyline she gave, it was quite plausible as to what might have led to the child's death. You know, I think it's just in the course of a routine investigation that the story started to fall apart.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, so she said she had fed the baby, she was putting it to sleep, and then suddenly he wasn't responsive, and then she called for the ambulance. But then when they looked at the CCTV in her apartment,
Hmm.
they saw her leave for work at
Hmm.
8 something in the morning. They
Hmm.
saw her come back 8 hours later,
Hmm.
and then about 3 4 minutes after she came in, she phoned the ambulance.
Hmm.
You know, so yes,
Hmm.
and then she was exchanging text messages with the babysitter to try to cover up that
Hmm.
so yeah, her story didn't hang together.
All this will be brought against her at the law court. It's not going to be a neglect case anymore. This is going to be a case of murder, and she,
Yes, I agree with you,
yeah,
Babaja. Yes, it
yeah.
should be. She should be prosecuted and she should face the law. I know that women do suffer from postpartum depression. All I'm questioning is they need to evaluate her mentally to know the kind of mental something is not right here, something is off. For you to go to this extent knowing that you came into a program that won't accept you because if they find out you're pregnant, that's not, for you to go to that length to hide it and give birth to the child while you were working, something is not right. But Bajale Coco, my question to you, sir, is what do you think and what's your opinion about our men marrying Caucasian women, Spanish, whether is it that our women are not good enough, or I hear some people say that our women, our nagging is too much. So what is your opinion, sir?
Well, I think in the world we are now, we live in a global village. We live among each other, and that is what we live. Like the United States is a multi-racial country. So you went to the same school. What do I say? It? Student of Spanish, black, white, and Caucasian, or whatever you call it. They went to the same school. They live in the same community. They do things together. So and love could I mean you see whoever that you feel is compatible, you love her, and you get along. It doesn't matter who you want to marry. It's because back in the days we only live in our own community back home that is strictly black, and uh, uh, um, a majority of our people are I mean, we live in a ethnic. How do I describe it? Like, let me take for example, like in Yoruba land, was uh, um, majority. What am I trying to say? Let me say for in Yoruba land now is majority of the population are Yoruba people. Absolute majority. Like back in the days, I'm not saying now. Now that we are more integrated with each other, but back in the days, absolute majority, like 90 something percent, are Yoruba people. So who are you going to get married to? Is it not Yoruba person? But in the world where we are, that we have integrated more with each other, more Igbos are mixed with Yoruba, more Yoruba are mixed with Igbo, and they live together. So these children, they attended the same school, so they marry whoever that they love. So that is the way it works now. So I don't want to see that, black men just going for Caucasian instead of black. No, they live in a global village. Everybody, I mean, irrespective of their nationality and race, haven't lived together. Yeah, they get to know each other better. They love each other, and then yeah, they hook up with each other, and that's the way it works. So I don't agree that black men are abandoning black ladies and going for Caucasian and this thing. I think we are more integrated than ever before in this world now. So that is what is responsible for that.
So will you say our women are nagging? Are we very difficult to deal with in terms of us marrying each other? Our women, like, are we so too much for our men to handle sometimes? Like, are we part of the problem? Why our men are going for women, these Caucasian women, and they're happy. And a lot of them are happy. They love their men I know who that's all they date is Spanish women and Caucasian women. So, and if you ask them, they said it's different. So I want to hear, like Mr. Adewale said, he asked one man, have you dated a Caucasian person before? He said there's a big difference. So what will you say in regards to that?
You see, you see, uh, the problem with some, I will not say all, some of the black ladies now is that instead of developing their own culture, their own way of life, they're trying to copy the culture of others. They want to look like a white lady. They want to behave. Don't let me say white lady. They want to behave like others, that in such a way that is not in line with African culture. And they want to be more westernized in everything, particularly and in that respect, they don't want to give that man that absolute respect that he deserves. The position of a man is the head of the house according to our own culture. Whether you like it or not, you must say this is the nature of black men. Even in America, a black man that was born in America that never at one time stepped his foot in Africa. Look, it is our nature. You cannot change it. Our nature is to be the head of the man, I mean, the head of the home, and, be in control. I'm not saying that you have to be in control violently or you have to dominate your woman or so, but a situation where you see a woman trying to show that, oh, we are all equal, or my own interest must be above yours or must be considered first before yours. That a black man will say, no, this is not what I want. And if he found a Caucasian or Asian woman that show him respect, that put him in the position of a leader of the house, that consult with him in taking the position, I mean, in taking decision, yes, you want to go with, you just need peace of mind. You don't want to say, oh, because oh, I want to, I'm black, and I want to marry to black, and then you put your head in a relationship that will never give you peace. A lot of men want peace. That is just it. And women of these days, what we must take a look at, and women of these days, some don't want to treat man like, just treat him like a king. Let him behave that, let him have in his head that, oh, if my wife is absent from me, if it's not around me, I'll be missing something. But if you think, yes, you can put him in his own pace, that do your own thing, your own, let me do mine in my own, and then there's going to be a problem. What I mean by treat him like a king, let him see you as something important around him. Number one, you have to start with cooking. If you can treat your man right with your food, if that man, you can let him know that your food is important, that man will leave a job and running come home to come and eat. If you can, that's certain things that you can do. It's essential that a woman must do for man. So, but when that is missing, that man doing things on his own, is doing his laundry on his own, is doing his food on his own, you don't let him feel that importance of you around him, then the love will not be there. Something will happen. I mean, that is what is missing now with a lot of black, or don't let me even restrict it to black ladies alone. All these young kids we are having these days, they have that mentality that, well, they can live their life by their own due to the system, what the system taught them. This system in this country, you can live, you don't need.
Is it more difficult to maintain a black relationship in the diaspora? Is that what it is?
You mean black relation? I don't really know. I think it's more. You see it more with the young people, but people
because the gender roles are not clearly defined in the conservative manner that they would be in an African setting, where, like you said, a man's role is a man's role.
That's
but are
right.
there even men's role in the West? That's the thing, so
yeah, this liberal way of thinking, liberal lifestyle, I think is destroying relationship among our children of these days. So until we want to go back to this conservative definition of marriage and this conservative marriage lifestyle, then we'll be able to keep relationship intact, and it will work
Yes.
better for the society too.
Yes,
So
sir.
Ms. Adama, is the young ones of these days that are being taught in the school that, look, the role of a man is not superior to yours, is you can even do better than men. These nonsense things that are being taught, I think it's affecting, is what is really causing this problem. So all this young lady doesn't want to see a man as anything more important, I mean, very important as such, because they feel without a man they can live their life. So it is not good for the relationship. It is not good for family value, and it's not good for the society.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dawala, if you're there, could you please explain to us, for you that have dated a Caucasian man, a Caucasian woman, could you please explain to us the difference between dating them
no,
and our
I think
women?
you were right in the first instance. I think he probably did date a Caucasian man.
Stop it, woman.
Yeah, putting words to my mind. I never mentioned that I've dated a Caucasian woman. I asked you that question, but I will
No,
leave
no,
the.
I have dated a Caucasian person. I've even dated an Indian. It's so different experiences all the way through.
Uh,
it's usually more a relationship of it's a the distinction that I will find is that it's more of a relationship of equals with a Caucasian person. Maybe it's just the Caucasians that I dated back in my single days, but it's usually more a relationship of equals, you know. But then with the black woman, and I've dated somewhat Caribbean, but predominantly Nigerians. There's somewhat of a, I won't say a subordination, but there's somewhat of a deference to the male role, especially within the African Nigerian relationship. So if you are with a Nigerian girl, yeah, tra- tra- um, traditionally, maybe not in all instances, but they often tend to defer to the male role, you know.
But I think what made male crave for mostly in a relationship is respect. If you respect me, I'll respect you. And in most instances, most of the Caucasians usually believe in equality. Also, let me put it that way. But one thing that distinguishes them from others is the fact that they'll try to be loyal to you as long as they get what they wanted. Now, let me come from a different angle now. When you are dating a Nigerian lady, the first phase is usually happy face where everybody respect each other, everybody trying to hide one flaw from one another. And that is why question are not usually asking those in that phase because everybody's trying to impress one another. Now, when you go for a Caucasian, right from the get-go, the Caucasian will let you know what they're made of. Okay? If it's cold, it's cold, it's hot, it's hot. Now, the sexual aspect of it is what think maybe most African brothers usually like from the Caucasian. As a married woman, I guess it's because of our conservative nature. Hardly you will see a married woman asking her husband for sex or making that first uh, or initiative from the beginning.
It's
Hardly you.
usually a leg poke, isn't it? When she wants to do that, it's usually a leg poke under the duvet.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, it's all usually reserved to the night sleep or
That's
something
true.
like.
Actually, I've never yet known women to initiate sex. I think
What,
maybe once.
what woman are you meeting? Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself, woman. Don't
No,
go there.
let me say black woman because I've known an English girl but I've
Yep.
never yet known a black woman initiate
That
sex.
that
Are
number
you?
And
No,
I've just seen
no.
them.
Come on, woman. Don't
They will
speak.
try,
that
even when they
number is
want it, they
not
will try and feign some sort of reluctance. I don't know, but yes, I think you're right. Black women don't initiate sex. No.
No,
that
no, no,
number.
no, no. Woman, you can't say that, Mr. Denwell. Hold on. Not all black women. Some of our black women, they know what they do in bed and they initiate sex. They know what they want. So don't say all. Maybe the type you met and come across do not. So, and another thing is we need to encourage our women to request for what they want when it comes to the bed. But a lot of them, like you said, and I'll agree with Mr. Adewale, is they shy from saying and speaking, verbalizing what they lack in bed. A lot of our women, as we speak, some of them do not know what orgasm is. So, if we want to put it in perspective, we need to, as men, encourage our women to express how they feel when it comes to the bed.
That's true. I've come
See,
across a
but is that
brother.
not against the tenets of religion? Women orgasming, I think
But
religion
woman, why are
forbids.
you like this? Woman, why are
You,
you
you,
like this?
no, if we're talking about black women now, they're not very adventurous sexually. Anything outside of the missionary position, they bring out the Bible and start to, tell you about sins and
Woman, just like I say, maybe it's the people you're coming across. A lot of our women know what they want. And the women I socialize with, and women like me who know what we want, yes, a lot of our men feel like women like us who know what they want in the bedroom, we're too wild. If we're conservative, like Baba Jellico could say, there are things I can't say because he's here, out of respect for him. But if you know the kind of relationship you have with your spouse, you're able to be yourself, do those things. Why should you shy away from it? All I'm saying is our men should encourage our women to express when it comes to the bedroom what they lack.
You know, another thing I've discovered is that when a Nigerian woman gives birth to a child, it's like they look at their physical appearance as nothing, and they decided to neglect that aspect of them. And I guess they don't see themselves as a person anymore. The way they used to look, I'm not saying that the physical appearance would not change, but they tend to neglect themselves. And you know, over familiarization, when you're at home with your spouse, you just wear whatever you like. That makes that man to lose interest. Now, I've seen a brother, or I've come across someone who is
Sorry, they were over what time scale? Because if they've just newly given birth, I don't think you should be having any expectations for what 3 4 months, and maybe even, so you have to give them a period of and by the way, when the baby comes in, I don't think appearance is what is at the foremost of women's mind. It's just,
no that
No,
it's
no,
just
no,
see,
woman,
that's
you're
the
easy
wrong.
problem. One man,
navigation.
No,
that is
woman,
the
you're
problem right
wrong.
there.
That
One
is the
man,
problem. You're wrong. We need to be intentional about things.
correct.
If you're intentional about things, no matter if a child comes into your life, you will be intentional all the way. I had a rule that, like my baby, when I had them, they never slept in my room. They never did. They had their baby. That's why you have baby monitors, cams, and all those. Even they've gone advanced now. So a woman, Mr. Dewale says this thing. Our women need to learn to take care of themselves even when you are home. No man wants to come home, and what they would meet is a woman tying wrapper out on her chest, looking at kept and whatever. We need to learn to be intentional about our appearance. And another thing is date each other. There's nothing like keep the fire going. Make our dates nights. Do something romantic. Everything doesn't have to be
Yeah,
a
but how long
restaurant.
do you keep the fire going in a 15-year, 20-year
You have to be
relationship?
You
intentional.
have to be intentional,
You
one
have
man.
to
You
Forget
be
all
have
that.
to.
These are just work. These
woman.
are work ideas. These are work.
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Woman, look,
you are
let
20 years married. You are 3 kids in,
woman,
and you are
woman,
intentional.
woman,
That's just work something, isn't it?
Man, what are you
woman.
saying? Because you're
Wait,
not romantic, you don't know what it is.
woman. You see, if your wife, I'm sorry to say that, when a wife intentionally tries to spice up things and make herself presentable, look, it won't cost you to have your bath. If you need to do a little makeup, do a little makeup. Bump shot, something clean. At least a fabric that is clean. Put it on. Then you nurse the baby. I don't know. Some men like they get turned on by seeing a nursing mother, and not a dirty one, but a clean one. That's why people keep having kids like a rabbit because their wife or their partner is usually there and all that. Now our brothers go to these people, to the Caucasian or Hispanic people, because they serve them varieties of sexual food, okay, and they will make sure that you are well taken care of. And that is why some of our brothers usually get lost going after these people, even without marrying them, because they know they're going to get satisfaction from them. Can you imagine somebody who introduced you to something that you've never seen, that maybe you, based on your religion belief, you believe this is sinful, and but then they happens to have performed it on you and you felt really good about it. But your own wife at home that hold dear to her belief, that believe that this shouldn't be used.
The most adventurous experiences I've ever had has been with non-black women. You know,
Exactly the point.
let me just say, keep it that to keep it PG. But
Exactly the point.
the most adventurous experiences I've ever had has been with
You know,
um Indian, Caucasian, I think to Eastern Europeans, and especially Eastern Europeans. Yeah.
No matter how old the man is, still one varieties.
That was before I got married, by the way. So,
We all understood the woman. But no matter how old a man is, he wants varieties when it comes to sexual satisfaction. And look, the impact of is this sexuality or no, not sexuality, sexual appealing in marriage is very huge. First and foremost, you get attracted to your partner because you like what you see. Now you begin to know that person deeply and talks about some important issue now. And the moment you lost that affection or that appearance appealing, then it will affect a lot of things to the point that it will affect the sexual life of that relationship. Now, our brother decided to get lost in the kingdom of Caucasian because of what they are being served. They understood that they cannot expect the patriarchy kind of what they enjoy most in Nigeria before they traveled abroad. They know that some of their rights or some of their privileges we will have to let go, but they know what they wanted and they go for it. That's why they don't care that they go ahead and get married to them. So you can imagine a marriage of, and that's why you need to spice things up. And a man that knows that look, this is what it takes will continue to spice things up. For crying out loud, why would a married woman lay down on the bed like a log of wood and just stay there where the man is? I mean, it's not sexy. It kills, the urge, the feeling. But you expect your woman to kind of reciprocate what you're doing. And that is where you spice things up. And as most of the marriages these days, especially when the man has stepped out. Okay. But before the brother get lost in that, be able to meet a sister that is ready to. Of course, I can understand that the sister also will trying to like, okay, I need to limit some of the things that I would do or say so that I won't be perceived to be wild or gone too far. That conservative aspect of us is always come to, but I mean, once you're married to someone, you've been with that person for a couple of times, then I don't see a reason why you should be shy where you can even learn together. Maybe attend classes together, but our men probably won't do that because of who we are.
what sort of classes? And by the way, just to redeem myself, when I said the most adventurous, I meant before I got married, or not. So the most adventurous is obviously yes. I mean before. I mean in my single days. Not so.
But
I can see.
woman, this
I can see D attacking me in the comment section already.
but this is one thing we need to recognize, and I want to say this for our women. African women have been looked at on a certain way. If you're raised conservative and the way to look, the way to talk, everything. Our men look down on some women, they label you as wild. Women who know how to express themselves and know what they want. So our men too need to do a better job of encouraging our women. A lot of our men cannot speak about this topic in an open forum. They shy away from it. So how do we improve those things we lack if we cannot come together and talk about it openly and learn from one another? I am not saying that everything I do, you should incorporate that in your life, that it might work for you. But all I'm saying is we men need to learn to verbalize and encourage their women to speak out in terms of this is what I'm lacking. Let's do this. Let's try this. Be open. That's all I'm asking for. Baba
You have to
Jao.
understand that. Sorry.
Yes. Baba
So,
Jalo
so,
Koko, what do you have to say in regards to what you were saying? Go ahead, one man, then he'll come in.
no. I was just going to say that you have to understand that the African person, not even the African man by nature is a conservative being. You know, so the African man by nature is I cannot imagine some Nigerian guy sitting down with his partner and then discussing positions in bed and whatnot. I can imagine it amongst this new age sort of experience that we're going through now, but historically, traditionally, and generally, we don't. you do it by feel, don't you? Not by words. You don't start to discuss.
So are you saying engaging in that conversation with your spouse is a bad thing?
It's an uncomfortable. It's not the done thing, is it? It's not a Nigerian conversation, is it? To sit down with your wife and discuss sex. It's not a Nigerian.
Uncomfortable with who? The man or the woman?
Everybody. Would you feel comfortable doing that with your partner? Sitting down discussing, you know, if we move the leg like this and I mean, how does that conversation even go?
I talk to her with
Woman,
my
because
wife.
you're not used to doing it, and I think that's what makes you uncomfortable.
You know,
Because
I
those
think
are conversations you should have
I,
while
I,
you're
I, I,
dating.
Adama, you see
Yes,
why
sir.
this type of people or this type of men haven't had time because sex toy wasn't invented when they were growing up. So how would they have related with all this topic? Discussing it with the same conservative partner. So people like one man, they belongs to the ages and about that liquor. I'm just kidding. It's just the music side. But the thing is that the reason why it gets complicated or uncomfortable is because we do not discuss sex in African family, and that is the problem. The moment we unravel the taboo that surrounds this, the better for the generations to come because they get to learn more other than just saying about, oh, if you sit down on somebody's lap, you will get pregnant. Or this, because kids are inquisitive. They will ask parents, where do I come from? And we must explain to them. And if you're unable to explain to your own child, how would you be able to discuss, sexual um, uh,
Yeah, but that's left for the schools, isn't it? You just tell
we
them
can
you come from mommy
it
and
shouldn't be
daddy, and
left for
then
school, one man. It shouldn't be
no,
left.
no, it should be left for the schools. They have
No.
the
Woman,
technology for
as
things.
a parent who has two kids, two daughters well grown, trust me, you need to have that conversation with them, not someone outside. You have to teach your children because that's when something happened, they will feel comfortable to come to you about it.
Yeah.
You have to. You cannot rely on the teachers to teach a male child or female child what protection is. It is your job as a parent to have that uncomfortable conversation with your kids. My parents did it with us, and I am doing the same thing with my children. So it's a conversation that we don't like having, but you have to have that conversation because if someone else's outside does that for you, the way they are going to explain it may be a way that will not suit you.
I mean, a
Yeah, but
child
that
of
conversation has to be initiated by the schools, and then when they come back, and then you can. Anyway, sorry,
you
you
know,
are.
I think the best teacher is the parent. So when by the time the child gets to the school, they've already learned what they needed to learn. Any additional information provided by school is just jara. And by then, that child would have known more about the subject matter than what the teacher is teaching. And some cases can even argue the case in the class, which has happened in the past. So when the parent get uncomfortable discussing certain topic with their children, that usually brings problem. How do you simplify or explain in a simple term or tone to a child, maybe 10 years old, 12 years old? You have to come to their level of understanding and discuss some of the topic also can be a little bit irritative to them because they are also shy. But if you create that connection with your child in a way that you can discuss virtually everything so that they will learn. The moment you make that, establish that this is for educational purpose, and we're not just, making jest or fun around this subject, they will take it serious. Now, I would rather I discuss with my own child, or perhaps, before they start having their period about what is to come, what they need to expect.
Are you able to have that conversation with a female child? You as a man.
In a way, I came in when I needed to come in as a man. That topic usually get introduced by the mother. So it get a lot easier as the conversation proceed. Then it ease off, and the father can come in if there's a need to. When it happens, I just happens to I was there. At first, I could see the clumsiness, the uncomfortable um, body behavior, but I was just trying to like make jest about the old thing so that they won't feel like, oh, that is kind of like old school. But then parent has to be the one to introduce, to teach kids about it, so that when they grow older, those things will not become, they know, they will know anyway. I mean, who taught us how to have sex in the first place? Nobody. We found out, maybe some people find out in a hard way. But nevertheless, the parents need to take up that position and teach their kids, because whether they like it or not, that topic is still going to come up, and hope it won't come up when it's too late. You know.
Oh, yes, because nobody gave me lessons. People are commenting about your picture. So is that Camilla beating up her Trump? Is that what it
Oh
is?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Nobody taught us how to. I don't even know how I learned about it, but then it's just out of natural instincts, isn't it? Even know.
Especially when you
I
have
don't
a
remember.
very,
My father never sat me down and said, "You put X in, you put this there, and you do the." I
I don't
mean,
know if you have
nothing.
your favorite uncle. Uncle usually be the one to introduce that to a boy. And to a girl, they are always at disadvantage. Hardly you will see somebody who will tell them, "Hey, this is,"
You,
because they,
you know how they do it in the Arab world.
wow,
When a man comes of age, when a boy comes of age, they will simply hire him a professional, book him a hotel room, and then have him be educated that way. You know,
oh wow, oh
that
wow.
seems to me the better way to do it, isn't it?
The last question I'm going to ask to move the conversation, so Baba Jello Cook, I'll start with you, is Baba Jello Cook said something in regards to tradition when he was speaking about our women. And the question I have for all panelists, do you think our women have lost their values when they come to the diaspora? And I hear men say we have a lot of our women who want to be men. So how do we get our women to start understanding their position as a woman and make the family a priority? Baba Jelokoko, I'll go to you, sir.
You see, our women must recognize the fact that we are conservative people by our tradition. We are religious people, we are spiritual people, and we our definition of marriage is between man and woman, and not between two persons as been defined now in the West. So if you can really identify that fact that, you know, um, we are conservative and we have that respect for marriage, that value, um, I think that we get it right. But the more they want to change to the lifestyle uh, of the Western world and what is being preached in the Western world today, then they will never get it right. And in our culture as well, it gives man that headship of the home. The two religions that we mostly practice preaches two, Islam and Christianity. And our traditional religion, our the tradition too, about our traditional practice, it put men, it is straight. This is not, forget about this Western crazy lifestyle. So those that are Western, um, how do I have to say it? Those that want to live by Western culture, want West, that are Westernized, then when you are westernized, totally westernized as a woman, then you're not going to get it right. You will not see your man as the head of the house. You will not see your man as the head of the family, and you will not want to um, see his advice and position as superior. I'm not saying that you should be totally superior, but at least engage, work things out, and see how you can work as a team, as a family. It's some look. Our parent, our mother particularly, when we were growing up, if they put a proposal without, uh, I mean, to our fathers, and they said, no, 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 it cannot happen. This is what I want to do. You cannot. You know what? They will take it. They will cool down, and they will bring it up. They have a way of reintroducing that proposal until when they get that man to approve it. It is not by argument. It is not by trying to force your way through. So, but what we have today, westernized ladies and women that want to push back that no, I have equal right in this house. This house belongs to us, and you can't tell me this, and you can't do this. Then there's going to be a problem. Men, African men, by nature, doesn't like women challenging their authority. Once that authority is being challenged constantly and constantly, there's going to be a problem. That's our nature. That's our tradition. We must respect our tradition. We must not allow other people's tradition to overcome ours. And that is what is causing a serious problem in the marriage and a relationship between men and women as we
Do,
are
do,
today.
do you think those traditions should evolve, though, Ajan Lekoko? Do you think it's time to revisit those traditions and upgrade them a little bit? Because um it, most families now they're two income families. Because what birthed that our tradition was that the man was the man is the breadwinner and the woman the nurturer. But that doesn't apply anymore. There's no breadwinner in most families anymore. There may be a scale of earnings. So some of them might earn more than the other, but there's certainly no breadwinner anymore. So if uh, if um if both of them have to necessarily, and I'm not saying in most instances, but actually in most instances, in most marriages, you need the two income to sustain the home. So if you need those two incomes to sustain the home, and then you are no longer the breadwinner, then surely you have to give up those lofty heights and participate more in what was historically women's roles.
You see, one man, we have already upgraded that tradition. Uh, the way we live, the way we handle the relationship, the marriage life now, um, i i i- we in particular, we are not as rigid as our parents when we are growing up in our relationship with our wife. So I believe our children too are not going to be. They're going to be more flexible in their relationship with their wife too after us. So it's already been upgraded. We have relaxed that rigid um, man and that masculine lifestyle. I think we are very flexible now. So it's already been upgraded. You see, education changes things. It uh, upgrades the culture some kind of way. It make it more simpler than ever before. So, but the total abandonment of the the tradition by mostly our women that want to live a a westernized life, I think is causing a big problem. And the key is that, look, your man and yourself could be doing things maybe equally and sharing bills and so and so. But the moment a man feel threatened, that his position is threatened, that is that honor that he deserves is threatened, man will not want that relationship. Man will lose interest in that relationship. That is the nature of black men. I don't want to
So,
black men and
but
the Asian men too, because you see our tradition is more and is almost the same. I don't want to talk about Western lifestyle with their men here, but African, the Asian, even the Indians. Look at those Indians. The women, they they submit to their men. They you the rate at which we have divorce in our own between our women and women, the rate of divorce among us as African now it's so bad that if you look at the figures of the Indians, you don't see that that divorce rate among them is not as bad as we have it among us.
but
So
Babaja, what I
the
wanted
tradition
you
really
to
matter, and respect to tradition and culture and all this. It
Mhm.
really matter. If we don't practice it, then we lose it.
So, can I ask you a question? What do you think too the men are doing wrong, in your own opinion? What are the men doing wrong as well? Because we have to have it balanced. We can't put everything all on the women. What are the men as well doing wrong?
Well, some men they don't know their responsibility well, um, and the number one responsibility to assert your authority and to assert your leadership in the house is that there are some key bills that you have to pay. You don't have to share it with your wife. And number one of it is the rent or mortgage. You don't have to. Because as the head of the family, you are expected to provide that shelter for your family to live in. So if you can do that, that can give you that position that, oh, he's the one paying the, what do you call it? Um, uh, uh, is the one paying the bills for the house. You understand? And then number two, if for electricity, for this thing, if you are paying all of that, then you are showing to your woman that electricity and water bill, you are showing to your woman that yes, you are the man in the house. If for food, your woman is buying food and stuff and you are supporting her sometimes, she can understand. She can know that the majority, substantial part of the family bills, you are the one paying for it. That will put you in a position of leadership. So, but when you want to sit down with a woman, and that is the way, that is what we learned from our own father, from our own, parent, our fathers. They pay our school fees, they pay for the rent, and they build the house. It's even sometimes maybe their women supported financially to build that house, but substantially, it's their own money that they put into building of the house. So that really put them in the position of leadership. But men too, that want to live a Western life stupidity, say, oh, we have to share everything 50-50. Then you are playing 50-50 love. I mean, 50-50 responsibility. So you are giving that woman that position that you are equal. Both of you are equal on everything. So, but man must show that he is a man, work hard, pay the substantial part of the bills, and let the woman know that, yes, you are the real man of the house. And that when you are not around, she will miss I mean, the family will really miss him. So a man must really show that position of leadership. That's the way I do it. That's the way I see it. So it must be on both sides. Both sides must recognize their position right. You know, um, the man must show that yes, I am the head of the house. I'm paying substantial part of the bill, and the woman must show to that man that to look, as the head of the wife, I will give you that respect. I'll give you that honor, and you know, um, uh, 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 I mean, put you in that position of leadership at all time. I will not take any decision behind you. I will dialogue with you in anything that we have to do in that house. So not doing things behind your woman and get it done before informing your man. No, that means you are showing to that man that you can do whatever you like in that house. It should not happen. It should not happen.
Thank you so much, sir.
But
Thank
Baba
you.
Dale Koko, I have a question real quick, if you don't mind
Go
again.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
So what happens a few years to the marriage, the man lost his job. What happens to who pays the mortgage, who pays the rent?
When the man lost his job, and that's an emergency situation, the woman then should see it as a responsibility to do it because income is not coming in for that man. That is when that woman must take a position of responsibility in supporting the family not to fail. You see, we all have that responsibility for the, I mean, a responsibility and what to do that for that family not to fail. So when we have an emergency situation when that man doesn't make no income, the woman must stand strong and make sure that yes, that family must not fail, and she must not act crazy during that time. When you start acting crazy during that time, that because you are paying bills and that man doesn't mean anything to you anymore, his position of leadership does not mean anything to you anymore, then there's going to be problem. But when you show you are paying the bill and you are still giving him that respect, that man will see you as truly a God sent wife to him. And when things come back to normal, he will see his wife as yes, this woman is a true God sent. When we run into a problem, she stood by me. She was paying all the bills. And, that strengthened the relationship, strengthened that marriage, the marriage value and stuff like that. So, but when the family run into situation, emergency situation, the man cannot pay bills, and you started paying, you pay 2 months, and started acting crazy, and you have started talking nasty to that man, then that man will see that, oh, you're just loving him for his money. You don't truly have a true love for him. And that scare man to death. What will start going on in the head of that woman is that, look, in that head of that man is that, look, this woman, it seems she doesn't love me. It's just my money, and maybe I should start thinking of alternative or next thing to do, and get away with it from this woman. So that's the way it works, Adewale.
Thank you, sir. I am of the opinion that Babajala Koko, thank you for your submission. I'm of the opinion that women, if you run a household, please, this is just me, what works for me. You need to know how much it takes to run your household. Just like the question Mr. Dewala posed, in case of an emergency, none of us goes out there and say we don't want to come back home. You never know. I like planning for the future. That's just me. I like to know where the finances, the money, everything is going. That's just what works for us. But at the same time, I submit as a woman. But one thing I noticed a lot of our women are doing is they've made their job a priority over the family. And we need to have a balance. And it comes to a point where I say people should cut their coat according to your side. Know what, look at things that you can afford and stop keeping up with who is not keeping up with you. At the end of the day, if we learn to manage our finances wisely, talk about things, plan for the future, the kids are going to go to college. know all those things, you will know before you spend a dollar how far that dollar has to stretch and how far you want it to go. So I think as women, we need to learn to. A lot of women, we are hardworking. I'm a career woman, and I married a career man as well. So it works for us. But one thing I know he does appreciate is my inputs in the family, and I know my position as a wife. So at the end of the day, I just want a family where women will have a voice and know how much it takes to run their home. And like I said, nobody knows when an emergency will happen. And it's good to have an emergency funds when those things happen. Mr. Simba, welcome to the show. Could you please unmute, sir? Thank you.
Yeah, good evening,
Sorry,
Adama.
Choma. Not Choma, Adama. Check your dear.
Uh-huh. Okay, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Simba. I can hear you.
Okay, good morning, Ajale Koko. Good morning, Adewale. Woman, good morning. I mean, good evening. We are in evening here. Sorry, what I want to say about this matter, because if you look at what Baba Ajale Koko is talking about, he is talking from the position of responsibility that a man has to buy that respect. I think that's my own understanding of what Baba Jayako is talking. That means the woman has to respect you because you are taking some certain responsibility. If you don't do that, that means you don't deserve respect from that woman. Because if you look at our situation in our country, it's nearly, if you are, because it's like all these Western world kind of style that we are abiding now. In Nigeria, I don't think you will be in Nigeria and you would start sharing responsibility with your wife. It's like we are just taking 100% everything man pays in Nigeria. Whether we don't usually pay mortgage, but we talk about rent, the man will be the one that will build the house, will be the one that will pay the school fees, will be the one that will give them monthly stipends for the running of the house. And these same people, when you now see them relocating to Western world, you now see the beast in the woman coming out. They might not even be able to sustain that kind of marriage for maybe 1 year after relocating. You see problem coming. So to me, I don't think that responsibility is actually the problem. Because where I live now, I have some examples of people from Sudanese, the Egyptians, the Filipinos, the Indians, and so many of, and I can even see that some of them, even their men are not doing anything. Some will be, even some of them who are nurses here, they will be the one that will bring their family, and they will be the one actually footing all the bills. Even doctors, women that are doctors, some of them, even if they're on duty, you see them rushing back home. Hey, my husband, oh, I have to take my, you understand? They are footing the bills and they are still taking proper care of their family. And I can't see that kind of divorce or fight and everything among them. So to me, I think there's an issue with us that we need to address. I don't think it's actually based on who takes one responsibility or the other. It's like we are just going gaga. We are losing our values and everything. So it goes beyond taking responsibility. If you can just um, maybe respond to what I'm saying. Hello, is anybody?
Yeah, I think he's
You
muted.
can
He
hear
didn't
you.
hear you. Yeah. Can Mr. Adewale respond to your question
I,
as
I
well? Is that
think
okay?
to some extent I agree with Simba. Uh, you know, I tried to. That was the reason why I actually asked Ajani Koko that question. That when that scenario changes and the woman is now being the one shouldering that those responsibility, uh, would the man still be able to command the respect? I think A home should be defined as where, look, ego, financial status, societal status is checked out at the gate, at the door. And when you come in, you're just like a regular being. And then you make a decision as a family. But when you have one person dictating about how things should be, how things should go, it's a recipe to disaster, especially when they find themselves in a Western world where they believe the female believe that they have more uh, legal backing. At the same time, it favors them. So, look, I have a female child too. If I push you through education and trained you and successful in life, I don't expect you to be subservient, but at the same time, I don't want you to, fight for a position or say that I'm the leader. I always look at it in this scenario that the man is the head and the wife is the neck. The head can't function without the neck. So the neck has to be stable because if the neck is not stable, that the head will not be able to function properly. And guess what? The neck control the direction where the head goes to without being forced. So when we apply that methodology, it helps. So a woman with wisdom, okay, who knows that look, when it comes to unity of this home, lies in her hand. The issue of financial responsibility is something. Look, I've seen family that put their income in the same account every month. They build the rent and everything from that account, and then they pay themselves for whatever they want to do, and then the rest they budget it. So for that, they have financial strength. Um, but when you have things done in an individual way, the man has, especially when you are working in the diaspora, you work 2, 3 jobs as a man just to be able to pay and shoulder this financial responsibility. Look, a time will come, it will tell on your body. And that is why, if any woman is listening and you have the financial means, help your husband. Come in. Look, you've been paying all this bill. Let me pay like bill. Let me, unburden your load. Let me help you out. It doesn't take away from the man. And as a man, don't be so and you know it has to be this way. Traditional part. What is tradition? Look, I've seen women that are actually footing the bill for the family and yet respect their husband, not just outside but inside as well. And the man didn't misbehave. I'm talking about frolicking with the younger ones and all that. No, because he knew his boundary, because he knew that his protector is his wife. So hardly people even know that these families are going through financial hardship because the wife was the one, paying majority of the bill. So a home is where a woman knows her role, but at the same time doesn't see herself being inferior, but still respect a man. When you leave Nigeria and you come abroad, that is a different ball game. That tradition uh, view to some extent. I'm talking about, oh, I have to pay this, I have to be. Look, I teach cognitive skills, and one of the topic is called a man in a box. Majority of this belief that we hold dear to are man-made. Even if it's written in the Bible, it's still written by a man. But because of the kind of society we come from, it's patriarchy in nature. We have to assert our authority. The man has to be, yes, the man can lead. That's why I'm supporting Kamala Harris anyway, because a woman can as well lead as well. But you see, most of the time when you see women coming, they're coming from the place of knowledge, strength. So when a woman step forward to shoulder responsibility, that does not mean that that woman should see her husband as inferior or less than the person who she married. So when you travel from Nigeria to go abroad and you start working, and you see that you're neck deep in debt, you're neck deep in financial responsibility, then if woman has the means, come in. You've been enjoying doing madam in Nigeria. This time around, you have to help your man, or that man would not be around for too long for you to enjoy.
Uh, uh,
So,
uh, yeah, go on land that point. Adam, we have Larry joining us as well.
Yes.
Who might well have a peculiar take on that lady in the UK. But sorry, they will land your point, and then
let me leave the space so that others can contribute.
Yeah, Mr. Larry, could you please unmute? Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon from here.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good, sir.
Okay. So the thing is this. I've heard several views regarding this. And so one man, I sent you something, right? You saw it, right?
I did. Yes, I saw it.
Okay. So it's
You were saying the baby was an albino, and that plays into what happened.
yes, yes. Because when the whole thing happened, you know, I I showed it to my wife, and she's been part of the conversation because she's also a nurse, and they have a very big community of Nigerian nurses, and they kind of like discussed it extensively. They have this WhatsApp group that has over 500 Nigerian nurses there, and and they liaise with their colleagues in the UK because most of them were kind of like trained in Nigeria, and that was when the whole narrative actually came in. The problem is when some of these nurses come in, right? Like her own case, it's painful, right? One thing is for you to want to quickly go in. Another thing is for you to just wait a little bit. I've seen instances where nurses wanted to come to the United States and it got to a point, probably some of them got pregnant. Though it's going to really, it's not like it's the end of the world. The worst case that could actually happen is to have an extension, seek for an extension of probably a year. And after that, you can always go in. But in this case, right, she, based on what, because, people had to go deep to kind of like know what happened, the US nurses kind of like got in touch with, because they have the same association of Nigerian nurses too in the UK. I think they kind of like got to them that this person is also, a registered nurse. And has it been that she's asked for help and probably no one is ready to help? And that was when the whole narrative started coming out. And I think the nephew, of the baby, kind of like said, yeah, they try to give her help. Probably she doesn't really want the kid. And, kind of like a way to get rid of the baby for life to go on. Because for something like that to happen, and the next thing you want to think of is how to escape, that's big for me. Because you don't just look for a way to quickly escape. There are instances that things happen, right? It could actually, let's say it's an accident. And it being an accident means that probably, you still be a little bit emotional, but when the next thing you start thinking of, right, it's to call the minder, ask the minder to lie, and then after that, look for a way to escape because she knows that if she gets to Nigeria, she will miss. And if you miss in Nigeria, it's I don't know who's going to pick you up, who's going to get you. So it's so unfortunate. And you see, one thing is for people, this issue of money, 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 and it happens to a lot of immigrants. Pressure. You want to do some things that are even beyond you. I've seen instances when some of them come in, and after some time, they quickly want to, they kind of like, oh, I want to build this mansion in Nigeria. I want to do this. I want to do that. And when they come to me, I tell them, yeah, it's not an immediate thing. Number one, try to stabilize. And if you get into a country as an immigrant, the first 3 years, you will struggle. You will struggle in the sense that it won't be easy for you to acclimatize. If you are married and you have, you bring in your family, the first 3 years will be more of you're trying to stabilize your income. You're trying to stabilize your family. You're also trying to stabilize your relationship, because there's going to be a shift in your relationship compared to what it was in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is a place where you have a lot of support system, but the support system are not in the US or in the UK, which means that you had to blend to whatever system they have there. So it's a whole lot of things. For her, I think yeah, the law will take its course, and hopefully she realizes, if based on what we read, if it's actually true that she intentionally wanted to get rid of the baby. I think it's with time she's going to realize, and I hope she get back to her senses and try to do the right thing. That's just my view. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. One man, where you are? Another man, where you are? It says they've gone to
Larry, Larry,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I'm just joining, so I don't have the full story of the topic of about the nurse that left the baby to go and do marathon shift and all those things. So it make it difficult for me to actually make a comment on that holistically.
Yeah, yeah. I think the major thing is, aside what people kind of like heard that she was trying to escape, I think another narrative actually came in from, I think one of our in-laws, right? Kind of like have another narrative on Linda and Cage's page. Try to narrate everything that actually happened, how they tried to support, and she didn't really take the support they actually wanted to give her. And she was actually also the one that made us know that the child is kind of like an albino, which she doesn't like. And it's a whole lot of things. But my own is just that the fact that she was trying to escape, yeah, that's big for me, right? Trying to escape,
So are we really talking about homicide or what?
about what? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Larry. I had to step out. Lou, welcome to the show. Could you please unmute your nest? Thank you.
Hi, Dama. Hello, woman.
Dewo.
Hello, Mr. Janle Coco, and everyone else here. Hi.
Welcome. Dewo.
Hey, woman.
Bia, how far?
Adeo.
Wait happened. Our quarrel don't finish.
A long time now. You they keep malice. You be the head now. Waiting
Eh?
now. Wait.
No, no. Everybody don't they ask, say, where is Bia? Where is Bia? I say she's having a girly moment at the moment. So she'll be back. So, no, wow.
I'm always there. Shano wala. No, no hard feelings, woman. You be our own person. All of us here, we are one. So respect. Anyways, I don't know much in depth about the topic, but it is like some woman went to work and left the baby at home, and baby died, isn't it,
Left,
Adama?
yes, left her 10 weeks old baby at home, and the baby died.
12 weeks old,
10 weeks.
10 weeks. Oh,
Yes.
damn.
And
This is
he's
it.
in London, he's in the UK. Remember last week, UK too, when the news about the Nigerian police telling us that we call the cops a lot.
Mm,
So
wow, this is something um psychotic. I would see it in that way that, first of all, to address the issue about relationships between man and woman, by our culture, the man will always be the head. It doesn't matter where we live in the world. The man will be the head and the woman the neck. And I love the way one of the guys here put it, Adewale. The man is the head, and I believe the man should know his position. When a man doesn't know his position in a family, there is chaos. A man who doesn't know who he is in a family will be irresponsible. Same as the woman who cannot support the man as the neck, the house, the home's foundation will never stand. It takes two to tango. Both of the two people involved from the beginning, from the onset, need to sit down. It's like building a house and draw the map of the foundation on how you want to build your home. What sort of a home do you want to build? You think of the future, which is very important. You have to add other recipes that makes a home solid and complete. You're going to have children, um, the family, how you want the family to be, because every home is different, every culture, even in Nigeria, we have many tribes there. Every culture, the way they build a home differ based on their culture. What makes families not just a husband and wife, and there are other things that will put pressure in marriages, not just money. Money is one part, but there are many things, many ingredients that make a marriage sweet or sour. But there is no perfect marriage in the world. So anyone who wants to go into a marriage thinking they are going to, that the grass is greener anywhere else, you're joking, because the marriage depends on two people who really wants to build a home. And what type of a home they want to build depends on the two. Two cannot work together and become one unless they agree. So so I believe man being the head, knowing their position and their responsibilities, and take the responsibilities with pride, without disrespect. I always say that's respect, because it's important. If you don't respect your position as a man, then you are open to a failure in marriage. Same as a woman, you have to respect the man, otherwise it's not going to work. Respect is a recipe for dialogue. It is good foundation, means that you are going to treat one another as a human being. This is not like, oh, I'm the head, you must give me the respect. Absolutely. You will get the respect, but do you deserve it? What do you do to get that respect, to deserve that respect from your woman? And you, the woman, how do you carry yourself to deserve a respect? So, respect is important. It can be given and it can be taken. Whichever way both agree, it's good. And I believe a woman should. They say the man should carry the whole responsibility in the family. I don't believe that. It depends on the agreement, like I said from the onset. If the woman is a career woman and you are attracted to that woman, you already know that this woman is a career woman. So there are many things to factor here. Where I believe that where your husband's weakness comes, I believe the woman should fit in there to become a support. You support each other's weaknesses to it's like you can't put all your dirty clothes outside, dirty linen outside. You just have to fit in. It's a puzzle that you have to want to be in. That puzzle, you will have to want to be there. You cannot force yourself to be there unless you want to be there. Then the home will be peaceful. You work at it. It's never going to be easy. How hungry are you to have a home? How hungry are you to have a home? Do you really want a home? Both man and the woman should ask themselves before they even venture into a relationship, not to talk about bringing any life into this world, because it is not easy to have children. Once you're married, it's never going to be as sweet as the beginning. It is a journey that you have to decide if you want to take with that person. And once a child is involved, many things will happen that would try you. Are you mentally matured? Are you mentally stable? I always talk about psychology. It is important that people go for therapy. It helps. There is no shame in it. This woman that this situation happened to, that went to work, is she going through a lot of stress? We do not know the whole story. Sometimes the news carry the periphery of the news, but there is a bottom line disconnect in that family that may have caused this situation. Where is the pressure coming from? Is it financial? Is it emotional? Is it abuse? Is it what is it when someone is when what do they call it again? 1 minute. When she's not getting the attention she needs and she's crying out for help and not getting any help. Money is not everything. Money is important, but it doesn't solve all the problems in a home. So I'm not here to blame the woman because this is sad. A baby died. It is quite unfortunate. Is she mentally balanced? When you're in marriage, you should go for therapy. No one is above therapy. Find a way or some specialist qualified in that department to visit. It's like when you speak out, you empty your heart. It feels like you've lifted a burden from your heart. It's therapeutic. You need that therapy to continue to be mentally stable. Because if you're not mentally stable, it doesn't matter how much you have in a home. It's going to be hard, and you may give up. That's my submission. I've just come to say, join you guys, and I'm going to go now to get ready for work.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so
this
much.
opportunity.
Thank you. Can we have our final submission? Then we can end the segment. I just want to say thank you
Adama,
to everyone. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
I want to respond.
Go ahead, sir. This is our final submission. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, what my sister is saying, we have to check what is going on and stuff like that for that lady. There's nothing going on with that lady. She knew what she did. She just killed that baby, and she have to suffer for it. How do we get the life of the baby back? She took a program according to one man to come to UK. She knew she was pregnant. She hid it from the system. She came. He had a baby. She couldn't get no help. She knew what she was getting into, and she took a risk. And she did all. She lied all through. She lied to the ambulance services. She lied to the police. Investigation revealed after intense investigation, they discovered that she went to work and stuff. She knew what she did. She can't be spared. Nobody should defend this this murderer. She's a murderer. She killed a little baby, and she should be punished. We can't be talking like this and that. No, because she lied all through, and she was trying to escape, to run out from the country. She knew what she did. So that's number one. Then my response to Simba was saying earlier that my submission on a man should take a leading role in financial responsibility in marriage and at home, rather. I think, and it's making reference to the Sudanese and Indians, that their wife take a huge burden of that financial responsibility and stuff like that. Well, maybe their own marriage, maybe their own culture is different from ours. In our own culture, as Yoruba people, it is not the woman that must take the lead when it comes to financial responsibility at home. Is the responsibility, that is the culture of a man to lead. And I believe that has given us, and I believe that put us in the position of leadership. It played a huge role for us to be in that position of leadership at home. That's what makes you a man in Yoruba culture. I don't know about Indian culture. I don't know about, and it doesn't mean that doing that you are buying your way, using money to buy your way in the relationship as a leader. No, it is just the culture, the psychology behind that. It's give you that strength, that strong position. When you are a
Okay,
leader,
okay, Babaja, sorry.
you must play. Look at America is the leader of the world.
Babaja, sorry for interjecting you.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, before you guys go further, Adama, can I just make
Yes,
it
go ahead.
clear?
Can you wait, Mr. Simba? Go ahead, Lu.
Hmm.
Okay, Mr. Ajanle Koko, I don't know if you heard me well. I'm still the same Bia, and I'm going to clarify this point. What I said was like, I am not in support of the death of anyone, not even a child. It is sad. If you heard me, I said it was sad. It is something about the law, something for the law to take its course. And definitely, you should know that if this woman is in the UK, she will definitely face the full law. I believe in full law. I am just saying that I'm not here to judge the woman. I'm saying paraventure, she's may have some mental breakdown. I'm not here to justify the death of a child. It is sad if you had me before. So that's what I'm trying to say. Let the law take its full course, but people should actually go for therapy when they are struggling. I'm not going to judge that woman. Why should I judge her? Why? I'm not there when it happened. The news carried what happened and what she did. Let the full course of the law prevail. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Um.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Simba. Is that your final submission? Because we're getting ready to close the show.
Okay. So, Baba Jericho, I quite agree about the cultural things that you are talking about, and what I'm saying is that if we not travel abroad and there is a shift, you understand? If you look at what I was saying, that in Nigeria, it's like the man take 100% responsibility. But when they now travel abroad, maybe because of the lifestyle, the kind of work, the tension, the stress and everything there, they have a lot of bills to pay. That cultural shift that a woman now has to take some role is putting a lot of pressure on our women. And then with the kind of law that they have there that favors women, is that not why we're having issues? Because our women are not used to taking that role of supporting, giving like 50-50, like people used to say there, or even doing 60-40. So that shift, don't you think is what is causing the problem? So you can respond to that. Then the woman in UK, Adama, you are a doctor, and I want to say this with all sense of responsibility. This thing is very common in Nigeria. I'm very sorry to say this. I've seen several instances where people will have babies, like, because I'm just speaking to what Larry said, that maybe because the baby is an albino and then the woman doesn't like the baby and all those things. We have seen several, I'm a pediatrician, and I've seen several instances where we have babies that have some form of congenital abnormalities. I've even seen a colleague of mine, a doctor.
Oh, I think he dropped. Can we go to Mr. Larry, your final submission, sir? If he comes back, we'll go back to him. Mr. Larry, can you unmute? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So before I go ahead, let me ask you something, Adama. I was on a platform yesterday for the first time, and I saw one Adama kind of like putting people to check. Was it you?
That was me, yes.
Okay, yeah, that was a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, I think Simba is back.
Okay, Mr. Simba, you're next. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I don't know, but I just discovered that I was actually out of this. So what I'm saying is, I said I've seen even a colleague of mine that had a child with Down syndrome. He was not right. The wife had the child with Down syndrome. He traveled for an update course, and he came back and was asking us, why do we keep the baby? And the next thing he asked us, that we should discharge that baby. And we discharged, and that was the last thing we saw about the baby. We up till now, we don't know what happened to that baby. In a saner climb like UK or even US, where people, they can probe, and there are so many things that happens in Nigeria that people goes away with. Maybe she didn't know that she's no longer in Nigeria. It happens to even my own brother. The wife left a small kid, baby, as at that time baby was still less than 5 months old, for a maid. And that maid left the baby. She followed her boyfriend, and by the time she came back home, she made that baby dead. They had only two children, a male and a girl and a boy. It was even the boy. And the boy died, and nothing happened. Everybody just say, okay, it's the will of God. That I've seen several cases of children with cerebral palsy that we see signs of people, I mean, the parents, because they don't want it, they can't cope with the stress of taking care of such babies. They will intentionally do certain things that will lead to the death of the demise of those babies. So it's to me it's a very common occurrence in Nigeria because nobody will probe it. Like this woman, if it happens in Nigeria, she will just come and say the baby died, everybody will just accept. So to me, I'm not
Thank you, sir.
surprised hearing this from a Nigerian. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your input, Mr. Simber. Mr. Larry, over to you, sir.
Oh, okay. So I think Simba actually said a lot of things which I really agree with. But the thing is this, particularly for immigrants, when you go into those countries, you know, don't expect that things are going to be the way you actually expected it to be. People have said it here, ask for help, right? You will always get help. You know, I know it's always tense when people first coming into probably US or the UK. It's a little bit difficult because for you to acclimatize, for you to, for you to adapt. So it's a little bit difficult. But still at that, there is a whole lot of places to ask for help. If you don't, there are churches, there are mosques, there are communities where you can always see help, right? And even the system also have a way of helping you because at that point, you are probably a low income earner, which means that you have access to a whole lot of things which you need to ask for and take advantage of it. So for the woman, I think the major thing, the law is actually taking its course, and I hope the law actually take its course, and and I hope you know if she's been put in prison, that serve as a correctional center for her, and she's able to come back and come back to her senses and learn from her mistakes and have some lessons learned.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larry. I just wanted to thank all the panelists that joined us today. I really appreciate you guys joining us. Hopefully, Ms. Dupsy will be back next week. So this is my final submission. My final submission is, as a pregnant woman, it's okay for you not to be okay. There is something called postpartum depression, and we need to recognize that. And mental health is a serious issue. Please seek help if you need one. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Men do go through it as well. I encourage us to talk, speak out, tell people what you're going through, and don't be shy to ask for help. And I pray that whatever she's going through, wherever she is, whatever the law has to do, let it take place. And in regards to our marriage, for those women who put family first, kudos to you. I support you, and I'm with you on that because nothing is greater than family, no matter how much money we earn as women. As for the men being the head, I appreciate you guys for all you do, and thank you for leading your home with dignity, respect, and recognizing that we, the women, as your neck. Thanks for seeking our input. One man, I'm going to hand it over to you, sir. Thank you. One man, please, before you leave, please close out with Ijebu music. That's
Oh,
Ijebu music.
all right, we'll do that. So thank you very much for doing this excellent job, Adam. So that means Dopsy's position is certainly under threat now. So thank you, Adam. That was excellent
No, no, no,
presentation.
no, 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 no. She's still my boss, so I'm just her
Don't
assistant.
worry, I'm sure she's watching. And so Dopsy, you see now, so there's a up and coming for your slot, but no, brilliant hosting there by Adam. So thank you for doing that, Adam. We acknowledge Ike Ogiame, who was the super chatter of the day. So thank you, Ike. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you. We'll actually see you later on today when we'll be speaking about Showore's journey to Nigeria, where his summarily got arrested at the airport. So we'll be talking about that. Thank you, everyone. See you later.